What's going on, everybody? It's your host, the Crypto Wonder from the Crypto Wonder Podcast. Let's get right into it. First and foremost, I hope you're doing well, okay? That's how it should always be on the front, on your frontal lobe. First thought, how are you feeling? How well are you today? And if you're not, may you find swift amelioration towards your wellness. Straight like that. Seriously. Let's be for real. Clap it up. Clap it up for your overall well-being. Because if you're not well, how are you going to be well among others or treat other people well? Come on now. It always goes back to you. It always goes back to self. And this brings me to this talk about this topic that I will basically comment on because it's just something that's happened a lot in crypto. And it's going to continue to happen because new people who come into space do not know any better. New people, 2 years and under, you're new. 2 years and under, because what have you really gone through in the crypto space? Have you, like the last, between 2017 and now, those who've been in since 2017 have a better scope and experience, a wider understanding of what happens in this market and how it feels than those who've just been in for the last 2 years. Come on. Let's be for real. You got a new guy, 2 years and under, right? New guy who, he's carving out his own lane in the crypto community and specifically in the Hex community. He's carving out his own lane. And it's good. You're doing what you do. But then like this is why you gotta really put your own, what he ended up doing, you gotta put your own work. Like, it's really about what you do that matters. It's about what you say and what you do on your own time, but basically what message you're putting out with responsibility. What type of responsible message are you carrying out? Do you care about what you're saying? But before I get into that, we're going to go back to the number one thing that these new guys do in crypto that to me becomes problematic. Folks don't care though. Let's be for real. Like, people just don't care. But again, when they didn't care before, and I called it out before in 2017, 18, 19, I just sat back and watched because I learned from during those earlier periods, folks didn't care. So I'm going to grab my bag of popcorn and watch and see how things unfold. And let me tell you, it didn't turn out very well for those people, right? What am I talking about? When you tell people what you got going on in crypto, as far as like how big your bags are, okay, right? Because before, people were doing something that it was just so common. It was so common to take a snapshot or go live or make blogs and show people what you have in your dashboard. A lot of you probably don't know about dashboards, but that was a thing in 17, 18. It's just been a thing. You're going to brandish and display all your information you have on the dashboard in a wallet that you have. Make it public. This is my Bitcoin wallet, and I've amassed these Bitcoins. You already know. Those who know. Those who don't know, it's okay. No, it's not. But find out. Do your own research. It's not okay. Just do your own research. But I'm not going to tell you. This is my Bitcoin wallet. Well, hey, Exactly. So would you do you in normal life show people, if you have a bank account, this is your account statement? Do you have it? Do you have the paper in your hand? Your hand folded up, your hand holding up the paper in the air, and you're showing people what's in your bank account. Do you do that? Especially if you're a serious person, you're serious about crypto. Do you show people what? No, you don't. Do you open your wallets, your purse, your whatever, attache, your man bags, your merce, whatever you want to call it? These labels, and show people what's inside those things? No, you don't. But because some folks say they treat crypto like it's imaginary money, like it's not real, they treat it like it's some type of monopoly, just zeros and ones. They use it as a way to make people believe in what they got going on, and that whatever they're doing works, to allow their viewers, to imply that their viewers are watching a winner. And what is the viewer going to want to become? A winner. You are going to want to do the same thing that you're watching this person do, to get the same results or even better. Natural. It's natural. Especially if you're in a miserable spot in life, right? Somebody's showing you how to do this and get this, and show you and tell you this is how big their bags are. You have one guy who's recently been campaigning for the new chains, the Ethereum proof of work, or Ethereum Fair, campaigning hard on education, and talking about there's certain things he does I get and I understand, but other things I don't. Like, you don't have to tell the world that you are now, instead of being a guppy or a sardine in the rankings of things within, then that's another thing, the ranking. I don't, that ranking thing, is your life really a competition? Who are you competing with? If it's not yourself, does anybody else really matter? When you have to live with you wake up and you sleep, you look in the mirror, you just see you. It's your life, not theirs. Shout out to Stumbles. But who are you in competition with? That's another subject for another day. That whole competition thing too. Right? Ranking. Oh, I'm a sardine. Oh, you a sardine? Oh, I'm a guppy. I have more value than you, sardine. Oh, you a shrimp? Oh, you're a bottom feeder? You a shrimp? Yeah, I'm an Oscar. Okay? All right? I'm a stingray. What? What? I have more value. Stupidity. So he goes from being a sardine to being, you know, a sea mammal, the biggest sea mammal you know. Megalodon, what is it? The biggest whale ever, right? And broadcast that. Like, you tell the world, oh, I made a move. Like, this is what he did. Okay, because he thinks he's well equipped, because he believes in what he's been hearing and listening. He believes it so hard in what he's been listening and hearing from Richard Hart. And shout out to that, because hey, why wouldn't you want to follow a winner? I get all that. But you go and do what you do, right? Create a strategy to get the best deal you can get, ratio trading, right? When the price is low and there's virtually no liquidity. You got the most of what you could get with what you have. Little bit of money, get the biggest bags that you could get. And then you go tell the world what you did. You think, right? Like you go and you tell the world what you personally did. Not as if like, because and then folks talk about risk management. Right? People will talk about safety, right? How do you protect yourself from getting wrecked, right? And then easily tell the world, oh, you potentially are holding something that's can be potentially very valuable. Why would you do like as far as like this is what you've done? Because by saying that now you've become from one low level in the ranking to a big level, a big level, right? In a different chain. Now you become a target because people, you see how the community, people are fickle and folks are very sensitive, right? They're your friend today, tomorrow they're your enemy because it's about money. People are very fickle and funny like that. Slippery slope. You're cool today, you got beef tomorrow. And when money's involved and you telling people you did X, Y, and Z, folks are gonna now look at you strange because they can't help their feeling. They wish they did what you did, and they're gonna say to themselves, "Why did you? Why you?" Right? Because that's how people are. And then you're thinking you're doing something good by sharing the information with folks, right? You think you have good intentions. Never forget that the road to hell was paved with good intentions. You're thinking you're educating the world, you're providing information to people that's going to help them because you're being quote unquote transparent. But you say that you often listen to the founder, right? You listen to RH himself speak, and you've done streams, listening to, live streams, listening, replaying old videos of RH, right? And if you have done that very well, there's something that you missed that's very important. Because it's going back to when people talk about being responsible, because you're quick to talk about being responsible too, as a content creator, and not creating word salad because you've been around other people in the Hex community, other quote unquote OGs in the Hex community, and they've just been giving you grief and you're right, they've just been criticizing you heavily because of the position you have regarding, the new chains. They don't agree with what you've been doing. And you describe a lot of stuff they do as word salad and them being bitter and not happy that other people have a chance now to get a decent bag at an affordable rate on these other chains. So they just going to continue to spew hate. This is what you're saying. And I get that position because a lot of the stuff I hear the OGs talk about with these new chains, I don't agree with at all. The imaginary horribles that they once had to field and right, they had to rebuke or debunk when Hex first launched, that they had to deal with when Hex first launched, all the imaginary horribles that existed in the world were thrown at Hex, and you could find similar imaginary horribles being thrown at these forked proof of work chains. But in the spirit of being responsible, in the spirit of talking about, securing what you have and et cetera, et cetera, has the founder himself ever said to anybody what type of cryptos he holds, what type of cryptos he owns? Right? I don't know, because I wasn't following Richard in 2010. I wasn't following him in 2011 and 12. I didn't hear about him till 2019, and I was not a believer in Hex. Not at all. But certain things is just, it's about like just common sense too, though. If you've been listening to his hours worth of content, hours and hours, hours upon hours of content, and you as a new person in the space, and you know, some people they like to extend their period of how long they've been in certain things too. You know, that's a thing. You know, like I'm saying 2 years, but I don't know about that either. You know, you've been 2 years and under, whatever, and you now have a social media presence. Your word now, people are going to listen and hold you to what you say more. And now that you're saying you're this big sea mammal, right? Holding a certain bag, just put a target. You just created something. Now you got the attention. You just turned the fire up on yourself, thinking that you're doing something. You turned the fire up on yourself. In the spirit of what? Trying to prove that others wrong, trying to prove, what are you trying to prove? If it's about, like, I don't know, like ego and pride, and you know, poke your bird chest out and show that you made a good thing, and then you know, it seemed like you try to hide all of that bravado and pride by saying, no, this is what I do every day. We're here to learn. And this is, no, wait a minute. Yeah, you're here to learn, sure. But try to also acknowledge certain things that you're doing that's unsafe. Like, you put your face out there, you put the founder, who's much more experienced than all of us in crypto, wouldn't disclose, doesn't talk about what he has. You going to talk about what you got? And maybe because you probably on a dummy mission to just crash out. Who knows? I hope not. I hope you're not trying to crash out in that, like you only live once. Bombs away, just like Geronimo, and you just, what are you doing? And then constantly talks about, like, there's this thing with dude, like, this is a little bit different than the whole point of just security. Well, dude, like, I understand that a lot of men who's in crypto are single, right? They don't have children, they don't have families, so they could take certain liberties more than others. But as a single person, like, when you, another thing I have to address, because I have responsibilities. My walk is my life, not yours. My whole thing is different than you, and good for you. I did what you did before, right? Before I was a family man, I was a single man, bachelor and everything. Lived that life until everything transitioned and changed for me. But one thing I hear you talking, it's almost like you throw shade at people who don't have, I guess, the quote unquote free time you right, as you. Just because somebody has free time doesn't necessarily mean that they're, one, using it, being productive with their free time. Number two, doesn't mean that they have stability in their life. Number three, doesn't mean that they're even happy. Right? It doesn't matter what you present or what you talk about and things about what you're doing, because one person's way of life is not the one set of formula or set of practices that apply to everyone. Everyone has their own journey. Everyone has their own steps that they have to walk in life, right? I could easily say, from a perspective of just being older than you, older person, right? Um, I hear what you're saying. I could easily criticize you heavily for the way you live. But what good is that going to do me? Not much. What I could do is focus on the fact that I'm not alone. And having having knowing that I'm not alone, because not only because I have people around me and I have to meet my obligations on a regular basis, and this is what I enjoy doing as a man. Everything is not about saving, everything is not about money, right? Because in some instances, yeah, I rather have people who care about me, people who I care about around me, right? In truth. And I'm a person who's hard to trust anybody, but I'm also fair, right? And I understand that the world is cold and it's harsh, but it also has its beauty. All things are dual in nature. If I was somebody who was caked up and everything was just about, luxury and material items and the finest of the finest and money everywhere, but I was by myself living alone, I already know that I will be climbing the walls in misery. I'd be depressed, right? Because of being alone, or the loneliness would affect me in a certain way that, it's just words can't even describe. And so I would have to now reduce myself to a level where I would have to buy companionship, because that's what it boils down to in many instances, and deal with remorse and regret and reflection. So it's a sick breakdown of events that I don't care for at all. It's about balance, right? In some cultures, children are revered as wealth. Having children in some cultures in this world, on this planet, children are revered and are seen as wealth. I understand that people who don't subscribe to those types of ideas, but this is how it is sometimes. Because some families believe, right, that while you're a parent raising your child, at some point during your life continuum, right, the deed and the works that you've extended to your children, it would be greatly appreciated and nice to want to have that work extended to you when you reach old age by your own children, right? So it's not just about, let me just hiding in a basement somewhere and saying that, you live in, a minimalist lifestyle to the extreme, and you just in a better position than folks who have their time divided because they have attachments and obligations. That's not something to be saying, like to say that folks who live that way who have attachments, who have families, who are not single, are missing out. Right? Because you decided to do something else. Like, call it for what it is. It's one thing to want greatness for you, to do things, but like, come on now. Come on now. I know relationships are not for everybody, right? Not every adult can be a family person. We get that. But I'm not going to, right, discourage or throw salt or insult people who are single, because you don't know anybody's story. You don't know everybody's story. Just like I wouldn't insult folks who, are family people, because I'm a family person. I was once a single person. I was once a child. Like I grew up and am still trying to, you know, help my family win. And then you in crypto, using crypto as an opportunity to help all of us win, knowing that there's so many people. There's a few people who don't want all of us to win. We got to fight adversity all the time. Yeah, I understand that you good. You wanna help the masses, but how you going about it? You could just kind of like, I could see you tripping. I could see you tripping over your own self, tripping over your own feet, I should say. And it's not cool. Because you continue in a certain way, I could see you crash out. You have a big bag. You have a big bag of a certain crypto. Now you praying that that crypto fares well. Now, and then you did something that show people that you trading, which is something that, you learned also is risky. It's not something that's really advocated for based on what the founder has taught, right? Like, be balanced and fair in what you're saying. Be balanced and fair in what you're doing. And then you're giving lifestyle criticisms about how, other people don't have the time like you have, and stuff like that, as if that's kind of like a disadvantage and you got the leg up on everybody. I don't know, bro. Right? It's my aspiration for, when again, folks got to think, man. You could be the richest person. You live in your own mansion. You have your mansion, lavish, everything, big digs, great estate, all this money, everything money can buy. You got it. But when you by yourself, how cold of a life does that become? Who's really gonna be there for you? Your money and your material goods are gonna keep you warm, right? They're gonna take care of you if you sick. They're gonna be by your side, right? Right? What are we talking about? You might be in a moment and live in a moment of feeling invincible, but that wanes after a while. It's like everything in life. It wanes. There's an ebb and flow to certain things. Get it together. You know what I mean? Like, folks gotta get it together. And this doesn't just apply to him. I just is a practices of the whole thing with people talking about what they have, talking about how much they have, right? On social media. Mistake, mistake, mistake. Even in the rap world, you see people that brandish they talk about what they have. They show jewelry and etc., as if everyone is going to be cool with them, and they're not going to have people who are going to come after them because they want what they have. Come on now. Come on now. You've already taken a risk being a content creator. So you're gonna turn the fire up more on yourself and say, "Oh, I got XYZ amount of bad. This is what I got. Oh, look at me pointing fingers at yourself." Like, no one cares really. In fact, people are gonna care a certain way to do something, because that's the wolves are always out, right? Everyone's looking, not everyone, but many people are looking for opportunity to take what you have. I've been saying this for the longest. And some people just make it easy thinking that they're doing something. They make it easy to suffer unnecessary loss. And then another thing, and I'm going to say this before I leave. I hear, other members of the community kind of like getting at him and saying, oh, you shouldn't be talking bad about other people, especially other OGs that have been in. You shouldn't be doing that. Like is this back and forth taking place in like live chats and chats, like, oh, you shouldn't be talking about these people. But then I'm saying to myself, like, it's kind of twofold, because I could see the guy's position. I could see why he took the stance he's taken, because it's like he's carving in addition to carving his own lane. There's a community that's being splintered away from a certain school of thought. So you got people who are manifesting different types of situations, and folks are going to go and gravitate to who they like and who they listen to. That's something that's going to happen regardless. It's going with the whole thing of those who are against proof of work, fork chains, and those who are for it. That's the type of division that I'm seeing. Is those who are anti-proof of work and those who are pro-proof of work. And he's on the pro-proof of work, pro-opportunity, pro all of that. And then the other guy, and then he's also giving critique to directly at people who gave him crap or who talk in a way that he's not cool with. And I get it, he has no filter. But then some of these OGs that are getting at him and saying that he shouldn't do that in the community, as if the community is strong. The community is not that strong. Because if the community was that strong, it wouldn't be this division. There's multiple fractures and splinters of different opinions of what's going on. And everybody doesn't get along like that, like people would like to believe. You still have people who are connected to, it's just, this is part of life. Does everybody in the world get along with each other? No. So what makes you think everybody in these crypto communities are going to see eye to eye all the time? It's not real. Everybody's not kumbaya Richard. Everybody's not kumbaya in outside of crypto. So how do we expect that to be? I don't understand. When Richard basically shat on a certain members in the community indirectly and telling them indirectly and said, listen, Mexicans, you guys spent how much money? $600,000 to wrap a car in the race. I remember that. And he was crazy critical about it. Said, oh, you guys could have spent your money doing direct marketing. And the same people who supported the car race, NASCAR, with the hex wrap, the same people, they didn't bring the smoke to Richard. They went inward. They arguing with each other. Instead of giving the smoke directly to where it came from. No, you're not going to do that. You're going to fight, right? Because the young guy, he's listening the best he can to what Richard says. And if he's doing something that Richard does and y'all mad at him, then what's the point? What are y'all doing? Y'all mad at him, but you're not mad at Richard. He's following what Richard's doing. The best he can, except Richard doesn't divulge that he's a whale in anything, or he's he doesn't divulge his positions in anything. He just said he used to mine Bitcoin when it was 50 cents on his computer. That's the most you hear of him talking about BTC or whatever he holds or had, whatever. Instead of bringing the smoke to him, you want to go within and fight each other. That's just weird. It's weird because if you say something directly to it, folks don't want to be unfollowed. They don't want to be pseudo canceled. They want to be in the good graces of the good graces. Right? I don't understand it. But then you're going at other people who just trying to basically follow what the man has taught. And you were the one that was part of the whole campaign in wrapping the car. You were so pro. Look, you were for that. And then what? What happened? Yo, this is why a community do what's good for you. Like everybody, crypto is an absolutely solo sport. Period. I'm out.